All right, and we have the crew all here together. So I am joined with 5 guests here to just sort of talk about Flesh and Blood in the past, in the future, all that kind of fun stuff. There is no real agenda here. I just wanted to get together with some people and figure out what other people were thinking about what's going on. So in the order that I see in front of me, we'll just start with Joey. Why don't you give a little spiel about what you do?
Sure. So, howdy y'all. Joey, Ducks and Drafts. Even made a pint glass for it because that's half the name is the beer. We'll get into that. But most of you guys know me for like the Learn to Play kit and a bunch of the FaB resources that have gotten a lot of communities started. Over on my channel, I've been doing a lot of marketing things and just kind of general business stuff. As all of you know, if I ever start any video, I'm always starting with a beer as well. So real quickly, I'm rocking out the Kindling from Odell Brewery, Golden Ale to Spark Change. I've never actually tried this beer before, so check my face to see whether or not I like it. But I'll crack this open and let other people go.
Very good. Capolo, why don't you go ahead and give a little spiel?
Hello, I'm Capolo or Andrea. I started Flesh and Blood kind of recently. I've been doing some gameplay video, some strategy video on my YouTube channel that is Capolo, and that's about it. Hello, everyone.
Great. All right. Tyler, why don't you take it away?
Everyone, I'm Tyler, Metagot Gaming. I do mostly rules videos and mechanics videos to help the community better understand basically what's written in the comprehensive resource or rulebook. I'm a semi-casual gamer from Canada, Alberta, and yeah.
Very cool. Must be cold up there right now.
It has been in the minus 40s the last couple days, Celsius.
Yeah, it's the same for Fahrenheit and Celsius when you hit minus 40, so that's not a warm time.
Very, very cold.
Raven, what's your deal?
Yeah, Raven or Kurt. Just started making YouTube videos a year ago because I loved the game, and still going though intermittently because of life. But yeah, loving it. Cool.
And then Tommy, Fresh and Buds, what do you do?
Well, I'm also drinking a beer. I got a. I guess
Cheers.
we're in the same time zone.
Yep.
Russ.
Yeah.
So I guess mine's the most appropriate. But I have a double bock Troganator from Trogs.
Ooh, very nice.
Get some hair on my chest this morning. I have a podcast called Fresh and Buds. Good time. We talk about all things, flesh and blood and food and whatever, So yeah, happy to be here.
Cool. Yeah. So we're in, I think, 4 different time zones. So we're stretching across the world. But yeah, I think, now that I'm thinking about it, I think we're all kind of as the kids would say these days, we're all kind of Zoomers in this, in the Flesh and Blood family. We are not boomers from Welcome to Wraith. Like most of us, I came on during Crucible, and so I think none of us have actually gotten a draft, the first 2 sets, and then the third one obviously wasn't drafted. So we're all coming from a perspective of that. So I think let's just start talking about like what do we think about the past. So Welcome to Wraith. Best set, worst set. How do we feel? What do we think that what's the best thing about Welcome to Wraith? Anyone have anything that they love about that set?
It's really easy to teach the game with Welcome to Wraith.
Oh yeah.
That's my line.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was about to say the same things. Like teaching people with like other sets is harder. Mechanics are like more complicated. Whether like Welcome to Wraith is like straightforward and it's like enjoyable as well. It's not like dumbed down. So I really like Welcome to Wraith.
I find all the Welcome to Wraith classes to be a little bit more balanced against each other. So even if you pick up any class, you have a good chance of doing well.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like people really liked the warrior versus the ninja versus this big brute and the guardian. Like it was just such a great time playing with just those heroes, and yeah, I think people really liked that narrative.
Sure.
Yeah, and I feel that the hero abilities on the heroes in Welcome to Wraith really set the stage for kind of how we're going to view Flesh and Blood going forward. You look at them, you know exactly what that deck wants to do. So, and I think that they could have easily missed on that, and they didn't. So it was awesome.
Yeah, no, and it's funny because I was as people were talking, it's like the set that you learn that when it's good to not block, when you can't block, when you have no cards in your hand to block, and when you have to block very correctly. So like you don't block warrior, you can't really block more than one with dominate from the guardian, you can't block with no cards in your hand from intimidate, and then you just got to really block well with ninja because otherwise you're screwed. So it's kind of the funny, like that's like your basic combo or combat mechanics was Welcome to Wraith. So like attacking, blocking, and then hero abilities, and that's like the guts of the game. And I think, as everyone said, this is the intro set, and it makes a lot of sense that those heroes were actually in those sets. And I think I don't know which sets were designed first, but I want to say it was Monarch. Monarch was the first set that they actually designed. Does anyone know? Yeah, something like so. This definitely wasn't the first set design, but the way they dropped it makes a lot of sense. And who knows if it was different in the inception or whatever, but definitely a great starting set. And it's really nice that they're doing that Farewell to Wraith thing. I don't know if anyone's been able to register for one of those. I got into one. There's 2 local shops. I got into one. Anyone else be able to jump into one?
We aren't starting ours just yet. We've got about 8 or 9 scheduled in the state.
Wow.
Yeah, our community's kind of nuts. But we haven't started registrations yet.
Yikes.
Yeah, I think I can only get to 1, but hey, I'll take 1.
Absolutely. I luckily I've done my best to support one of the 2 local shops, and I was able to. They actually were giving out seats based on like loyalty and people coming, so I was able to secure one. The other one snapped up in like literally like 10 minutes after they registered, and they didn't like care about who got them. With 16 people capped, it's pretty rough. But I hope that people are able to get to these, and I hope it's not only people who were there in the beginning. I hope other people can enjoy that experience as well, because it's a lot of fun. All right, so next at Arcane Rising. So this is our first foray into arcane damage, new kinds of heroes, and all that shenanigans. What do people think about that?
Go Azalea.
Go Azalea.
That's all I have. Azalea's my girl. I'm really spicy, and I think that the wizard concept needs to go away. Not because I don't like Kano. I think he just screws up how you get to play and enjoy the game, and he's a solitaire hero anyway.
Let's put a pin in that, because this is the kind of discussion I want to talk about. So I'm going to write down Kano and then put some stars next to that, because I do want to come back to that, because that's something
I should get a stronger beer when we get to that point.
Well, I'll give you a couple minute warning then.
Great. All right, well, since we've been kind of going around anyway, I really enjoy Arcane Rising. I think it's actually one of the most interesting sets that we've had so far, just because it is diverse as all freaking get out. Between the versatility of Viscerai, the kind of our first true soiree into control that is Azalea, if people play it that way. Dash is just straight up fun aggro. She's another really easy one to teach people. She's actually my favorite deck to give to people. From a learn to play perspective, because I give a deck that is clearly not the best, which is I include like a lot of generics, and it's really easy for people to pick up on Dash and be like, oh, I flipped over generic and it screwed things up. So it gets them really engaged into deck building. Dash is a good get started with deck building kind of deck, in my opinion. And then Kano, I'll get a stout for. Save for that.
Okay, we'll save that for later.
But again, I'm all Azalea all the time, and I'm never changing that. I don't care.
Okay.
Dash is my favorite hero for Arcane Rising, also like Viscerai. So it's like the 2 of my favorite heroes are like from Arcane Rising, and I've been like falling in love with Dash and how you play with the items. It's like a completely different gameplay than the previous Welcome to Raid. Same as Azalea, that you need to put the card in the arsenal to attack. So it's different gameplay of different style of gameplay from Welcome to Raid. So it's a nice addition to the Flesh and Blood world.
Sure.
I found Arcane Rising to be a little bit less balanced than Welcome to Wraith was, mainly because with classes like Azalea, who has to put a card in the arsenal before she can attack, and generally only being able to do so once in a turn, versus something like Kano, where you can just keep flipping up your deck and sending arcane damage. It just has too much of an imbalance just between those 4 classes, but I do think that it also leaves all of those classes open for some very diverse deck building with future sets. So like there might be a better piece of equipment for Azalea later on down the line that will allow her to load multiple times in one round and fire off all those arrows, or maybe even put better use the traps to make her a little bit more defensive. And then with other cards like Dash, where there might be new items for mechanic or for the mechanologist, where it'll kind of change up rather than the shoot, reload, shoot. It might be something completely different with a new piece of an item equipment coming out. So the future prospects for all the classes, I think, are going to be very interesting.
Love a side dagger. I'm going to jump in real quick on that. Just when it comes to especially Azalea and having the versatility and having be able to do more with further sets, I have to shout out Bolt and Shot as one of the best freaking cards for Ranger.
Oh yeah,
It absolutely fixed Azalea's problem of I can't reload constantly. Now every attack is an actual threat because she gets to keep doing her crap.
That was
I
our
love
preview
Bolt and
card,
Shot.
so I can take full credit of that. That was our Monarch preview card. You are all very welcome.
Thank you. Seriously, I've got a go wide blitz that is disgusting right now because of Bolt and Shot.
Well, I'm interested to see what Raven says. He's also been a big Azalea fan. So is he still?
Yeah.
I can't actually know. I don't know if you're still on her now, though.
Look, go Azalea, but also please make her good. Like Bolt and Shot is a huge upgrade, and it makes the deck a lot more fun to me. But she's also still a ranger, and half of her cards are so underpowered compared to, many of the competition.
Give her dagger, side dagger.
Yep, side dagger or repeatable reload on a glove, like legendary or something, but don't make it legendary. We'd like budget. But Arcane Rising is obviously Ranger is super fun. I also enjoyed Wizard, and Mechanologist is super easy to teach. So it's a really good set, though the balance is a little bit off. I did actually play Limited for this one quite a bit, because we didn't have Crucible when we came out of lockdown, and the store had just picked up Flesh and Blood, so we played a bit of both, Welcome to Wraith and Arcane, and it was good fun.
Cool.
In terms of Arcane Rising, I found that, from a CC, a Classic Constructed or Blitz perspective, obviously they hit on 3 of the 4 mostly. I mean, obviously Azalea has some hope, but we've seen Kano get some success, and obviously Dash has had success, and Viscerai's a crowd favorite for sure. I only played Limited a little bit with Arcane Rising, just sealed. I didn't draft it. I found Kano to be tough to put together in Limited. I'm not sure if that was the general consensus in, from a draft perspective, but that all being said, it seemed to hit at least 75% on both sides of the coin there. So it's a pretty successful set, and a lot of people, it's their favorite. So.
So here's a couple minute warning for talking about Kano there, Joey. So I actually, it's funny to compare and contrast it right from Welcome to Wraith. So we saw, and maybe this is just on the fly, I'm thinking about it and it's wrong. Welcome to Wraith was very, what you see is what you get, and it's easy to understand. There wasn't a lot of restrictions. I mean, obviously, yes, you can still play attacks if you're going to swing your sword as a warrior, right? So you're not restricted in that way. But Arcane Rising brought in so many restrictions. So probably the least damaging was the rune blades. Oh, play non-attack and then play an attack, right? Because this is just like, cool, now I get to use more cards in the game. So ultimately that restriction probably wasn't as great as, oh cool, if I Kano I can only play wizard things. If I'm an Azale, if I'm a ranger, I can only attack with my weapon from my arsenal. If I'm mech, I have my sweet mechanic that only can use mech or only is triggered off mech cards, right? So there's all these restrictions that are built in to fully utilize those. And maybe this is where people should have said, all right, well, maybe Runeblade's, good and might be a problem in the future. but you know what? Viscerai didn't seem to make a big splash anywhere at the time. I think it was just Dash who was dominating everything, and it wasn't even using the boost. So it definitely interesting sort of differences in restrictions versus non-restriction between those first two sets.
I think that's like a general thing when it comes to card games, though, is that when you have aggro, that's it. That becomes your meta. Like Welcome to Wraith is really easy, and everything that's aggro is fine. That's where we're at. Tales of Aria, Briar is the aggro, and that's where everybody flocked. Arcane Rising, you got to think real hard about Azalea. You got to think real hard about Viscerai even. Dash is just go. So I liked seeing the restrictions, but I also know that it's not going to change anything as far as how card gamers go and the competitive group goes. It's always aggro first, and then control trickles in.
Well, I mean, to counterpoint that, I guess that's more of the Arcane Limited. So Arcane Limited was dominated. Yeah, like cool, you get your induction chamber and you win the game, quote unquote, right?
Yes.
But like in constructed in CC, that it was just sitting back and control and fatigue. That was the big thing. So it wasn't really aggro at all. And I don't know much about the meta back then, but I don't remember. I know coming out of that, Dorinthia was the powerhouse. Then we had Ninja coming in, so I know that a lot of that was dominated by more of control dash. So I think it depends on your format that you're looking at too. But so I think let's talk about Kano Wizard in general. How do we see this going forward? So we know that we have like it's interesting to think about the design space of a wizard because it's how do you make another wizard that feels like Kano? Because Kano's been here so long, it does this one thing that's so different. How do you make another wizard? How can you have another wizard that's actually going to feel like a wizard? Does anyone have any ideas?
You've got to have cards that let you chain the actions together.
As
but
in,
you
like,
can't do it the same way that you do with Wizard, where it's just constant, instant, or else you just have another Kano. So there's got to be if this hits for X, fire something else and treat it as an instant. I think you're going to see more of that.
That kind of feels more like a combo situation with Katsu, where you have to combo cards off each other to make it work.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah, it's really hard because Kano is the wizard identity, and a few classes have this, where, yeah, Runeblade is the obvious example. They just need non-attacks and attacks, and that's their identity, but that is half of the game. So it's really hard to see a wizard that doesn't just play exactly like Kano does with all the wizard cards that we've got.
I think one way they could do it with to make it more wizardy is to give the wizard something like, say, an item like a scroll or a tomb that you actually put into play that has the attack on it as an activated ability. And with a limited number of activations, or a limited number of them can be in play. And then rather than pitching resources to flip over cards and play them, which is a very basic way of doing it, it would instead shift the focus to managing the cards you have on the arena and then choosing how you're going to use your resources for those particular cards, similar to how the dash mechanic would be with the induction chambers and the pistols. So
that'd make for a cool talent.
Yeah, no, I like that a lot. That sounds really cool, actually. Like it harkens back to like your old like Dragonlance sort of like spell scroll sort of thing. That's neat.
Yeah, it'd be like, let's say you have 3 slots for a spell, and then you have to put the cards in as spells, and maybe they start the turn in the game, but then those are the only things you can do. So you have to choose, okay, do I want to put an offensive spell? Do I want to put a defensive spell? And then all the cards in your deck just become resources to fuel those spells or defense or generic attack actions.
That's kind of cool. Yeah, it's like
that's
fusing,
really
but of a wizard.
Kind of, yeah.
And,
so it would change the mechanic for wizard to make it more wizardy.
Yeah,
but for the love of God, if you're going to do another wizard, you better put in some equipment to block arcane damage. Whatever idiot decided let's not do that in Aria, go back to Magic, guys.
We're not on Aria yet. Relax.
No, I'm just saying, like, if you want to continue the wizard, you're continuing arcane damage. If you're continuing arcane damage, it can't just be Null Rune from Arcane Rising. You've got to add more defense.
Sure.
Yeah. I think a defensive kind of wizard would be really interesting too. Like we got Aetherize in Crucible, and it's kind of a little bit useless at the moment. It had like 5 minutes of fame, probably literally 5 minutes, but
because of Doomsday and Eclipse.
Yeah. It'd be nice to see something like, defensive spells like, I don't know, Shield from D&D, where you just get like a massive boost.
Sure.
Yeah, a feedback shield where it blocks the damage and reflects half of it back.
Yeah.
So cool.
That'd be awesome.
I don't know if I agree fully with you, Joey. I agree to an extent about like it has to be arcane damage. I think we can see talented wizards. Like, I mean, even look at Tales of Aria. Like
Mhm.
say an ice talented wizard, that really all the non-attack actions are gonna kind of deal with locking them down, throwing out frostbites, etc. That's just an example. I think we can get something along that lines, and I think talents really open that up. Even like a shadow wizard, maybe
Mhm.
some kind of mill strategy, right, against your opponent, and I think we can get wizard without arcane damage. I think we can get uh, a a different design space there. So something
I'm
something to
happy
look
to be surprised for sure.
at.
No, yeah, like the shadow, like blood magic sort of thing. And I was during this conversation, I was thinking, all right, well, what about like a battle mage? But then I realized that's what Runeblade is, so they really can't go there. They can't combo a physical and arcane because otherwise it's kind of encroaching on Runeblade territory. But no, I really like the idea of like an item based one with like scrolls or something that is again a talent that really sort of can modify that. Maybe it isn't arcane, maybe it is electric, maybe it is blood, maybe it is light damage, something like that. So I think there's room to play outside of the a talentless wizard, and that's going to be, I think, the difficulty is making people feel wizardy without a talent. So
Mhm.
that's good. All right, so Crucible of War, that is the next set. So supplemental. So I know that my LGS wanted to do some weird limited stuff with this when you just sort of draft your hero and then you sort of get all the cards from all the packs open for that hero, and never actually took off or did it. But anyone's experiences with anything like that for Crucible? Anyone find a way to do it?
We did at ours. We did choose your own draft, so you got to pick either 3 wraith or 6 wraith, 6 arcane, and then you got 2 packs of crew associated with that.
Mhm.
One of the things I wish that happened, and it really frustrates me, and I hope they bring it back, was, do you guys ever read on the team sealed format? Teams of 3,
Yeah.
6 packs of wraith, arcane, and crew. You make 3 decks from it, and then you go out as a team. That was a cool idea, and it never took off because there was just never any time. Like, crew showed up and then went away.
That's expensive too to do that kind of thing. And not that it's not super expensive, but like that's it's not like your $25-$30 draft. That's like cool. Now I'm up to like closer to $50. Maybe people don't want to do that. Maybe it's a longer kind of day. I mean, there's more like game like structure mechanics maybe beyond the gameplay. But that does sound very exciting.
Well, it's still 3 people buying 6 packs. It's just 6 packs
Oh,
from different
I
sets.
guess that's a good point. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Then you need 2
I
friends,
really
and that's
wanted
hard.
to.
Yeah, the 2 friends is the harder part.
Wow, you need 5 friends, so you've got 2 teams.
Fair enough.
Yeah, also
Yeah.
true. Even worse, which means you need a box and a half.
I'm
each.
out.
I really wanted to play Team Sealed, but yeah, we had Crucible and it went out of print, and the price shot up, and then we didn't get unlimited for so long, and everyone was like, all right, let's move on to the next thing. So hopefully something like that comes again, because that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I remember Mavrian Skies, I think it was yellow, was like $17 at some point. Like no one even plays the yellow one at that point. And
Yeah.
it was $17. It was amazing just for a rare. So I remember that was like crazy. So that was the first set I bought. And it was on a whim, like from Team Common. I was like, oh yeah, I'll buy 2 boxes. And I was like, cool. And the only reason why I bought a second box because I wanted free shipping. So it wasn't even like I knew how big this was going to be and all that kind of stuff. So it was crazy to think how like, just a couple months after that, the game would really explode. That was like the time where Channel Fireball picked it up. We started seeing like bigger creators coming in and making stuff about it. And that's like, I think that was really the match that sort of just blew the thing open. What were people's experience like at that time when like it went from, and I'm not sure when people entered in, like were people here right before Crucible? Like when did you jump in?
I started playing right when the first Crucible spike happened, so it was almost impossible to find. I had to pay for my first box of crew. I paid 250 Canadian for it. For my second box, I paid 360, 70.
Yikes!
And then after that, I couldn't get it anymore.
Yeah, that's
I started with Monarch, so I skipped the Crucible release. I started like almost at tail end of Monarch.
gotcha.
Same here.
I got in January. So the first packs I ever bought, I paid $12 a pack for 6 packs of crew just to try first edition out.
Oh,
Worked out really well though. I got a cold foil blood sheath and a tunic. off of
Oh,
it.
okay.
And then I bought a box of Arcane, and I couldn't find anybody to play with for 3 months. I had to drive 3 hours if I wanted to play with anybody.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not fun.
I started. Oh, it would have been like August-ish, but yeah, we were just coming out of lockdown, and Crucible wasn't in Australia yet, so it was a bit of a mess. But yeah, then I managed to get some like right as it came out in Australia, and then like a few days later, I think the prices shot up. So yeah.
Yeah, that was a sad time, and that was when everyone was like flagging, all right, cool, the game's going down because people can't get their products, the prices are skyrocketing. All this is just an investor's game. And then I think that's when all those videos started coming out. I don't think a lot of people actually left the game from that. People were getting frustrated. Like from my experience, I came from Magic because it was really just a fresh start of something that was a little bit more exciting and easier to pace. And so I know that a lot of people were maybe bouncing over to that, and that's probably not true. I don't think that's true anymore. But I think that was like a signal to those people, like, all right, well, cool, this is just another issue that I don't want to deal with. And I think we probably did lose some people to either back to Magic or other games because of that, people thinking it was a flight risk. But ultimately, I think that's sort of gone away now. Except for there's still that image of like, oh no, it's too expensive, I can't play this game.
Yeah, and once you're in the game, it's suddenly become too cheap.
Right?
There's any value anymore. Like, thanks. Actually, question to the crew. Because I came in right at the spike. Tyler, you said you came in right at the spike. Were you guys, any of you guys, actually looking at Flesh and Blood at the time when the spike happened, and that was a deterrent from you for a while? Did anybody look at me like, I'm not doing this because this is a little too insane? Just curious.
No, because I looked at Crucible as a premium set, and so that's why I assumed it was expensive. I didn't realize that it had spiked. I thought that was its price. And
Okay.
for me, like, I go and spend $1,200 on collector's boxes of Magic and pull $3 worth of cards that just curl right up into a tube, and then either throw them out because they're no. So I decided, if I'm spending this much money on Magic cards that I can't even play with,
Oh wow, those are bad.
Oh my god.
Jeez.
and then I might as well spend the money on a new game that I'm hearing really good things about. The foil cards I use for equipment, and they have them in non-foil and in the unlimited set, so I don't have to worry about getting the foil version. If I don't have to get the foil version. I can get the cheap version if I want to. But if I want the expensive foil version, it's an equipment piece, and I put it in a hard case, and it's no problem, right?
Yep.
So for that, the money wasn't really a big issue for me at the time, like when it was still 300 or lower. And plus, there was also Welcome to Wraith and Arcane Rising, which none of the stores around me had, but I knew it existed. So, and it was still cheap, so it wasn't a problem for me.
Interesting.
My Crucible War relationship is a little bit different, I feel, because I started at the tail end of Monarch into the beginning of Tales of Aria, and I mean, as a big limited player, I looked at Crucible of War like, oh, why would I buy that? Because I can't draft it, and obviously I knew there were some staples in there and stuff, but in my experience, I had just seen it everywhere. Like, a lot of my LGSs weren't really selling it. And, when the out of print announcement came, all of a sudden they were gone. That's how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it never deterred me because it was never an issue for me. So,
Yeah, I think I was around pre-spike, and it was already difficult for me to get product just because it was something that, again, local stores were just starting to think about. And again, we have a lot of local LGSs, but they just weren't into it because it was still so new. Honestly, I rode through the price spike. I didn't buy after it spiked because I already had gotten some. But it almost didn't matter because I played the game. So I started with the I got some of the Welcome to Wraith precons, and that's how I started playing. And I was already hooked. Like, it didn't matter if the prices were spiking, and not knowing if there was going to be a unlimited or not at the time, because I was still new to the game. It didn't matter. I wanted to play the game. It was so different for me because, again, I know there's other hero-based games. I never played them. I've really been a Magic player since like the late 90s, and so that was what I knew, and it was just so different and like cool. I don't have to get mana screwed sometimes. This is great. So in that regard, like it didn't deter me at all, and I was like, cool, full steam ahead, whatever. I'm gonna ride through the bumps, and frankly, I think we see with Tales, first edition isn't really that big of a deal anymore for the most part. So
I'm so thankful for that.
yeah, no, and I think that's where we needed to be to really make this, more fun for new players to come in and play with. And then they just got to try to narrow the gap between Unlimited and first edition, and then we're like just where we should be with that whole thing. And
yeah, I found a store had some leftover Tales of Aria, and they're fairly new to Flesh and Blood, and I cracked the rest of it. In the last pack, I got a Cold Foil Runaways from it, and they were just like, "You got a Cold Foil? Cool!" And I'm like, "I know it's like an $8 card." But they, as people who were new, got to see something they never got to see before. There's no card like it, and they were just so celebratory and so like, that's really awesome, well done, man. I was like, you know what? I have no problem with Tales being first edition being as cheap because that kind of stuff was really neat.
Definitely.
Yeah, we had a lot of teething issues with the price of Crucible because, like I said, in Australia it didn't come out until like it was basically just out of print, and we had people just like they can't build the decks they want because singles are so expensive until Unlimited comes out. What was it, like 6 months later?
Yeah.
And it was just, we lost a couple of players to that just because they couldn't build their decks. And we wanted to give them cards. We gave them commons and rares, but you can't really give them like a Courage of Bladehold, Cold Foil, $1,000 card kind of thing.
Right.
It was a bit.
That was around the time where I remember, I don't know if anyone knows who Merchant is. He I don't think he does a lot of YouTube stuff, but he's a Magic and other games personality, and he had like, I think he either bought a box or someone sent him a box of Crucible first edition. He opened a Shiana and he's like, hey, apparently this is worth like $7,000 or something like that. And I was like, that was where we were, like just after, like when I started like engaging in like more social media in regards to FaB. It was like, cool, there's singles being open for that much, and like I can't imagine this is going to be good for the game. But again, I think we're in a better spot now.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Certainly evened out.
Yes, and I think that people don't have the arguments to. And again, remember, this was also in the middle of a pandemic or going into the pandemic, and printers were having issues. So even Magic was seeing a lot of delays and printing production, and shoot, that's still occurring now. So the fact that, and again, not trying to like fluff up LSS, but to be honest, it was a bad decision to start their game when they did, and they didn't know what they were going to run into. But the fact that it made it through really does show that the game's fun to play. So and if
they
it
did
ran
amazing with that,
and again, if it was because the investors sort of allowed it to happen, then thank you for that. But I think they're kind of losing their game now, which is totally fine.
When it comes to that though, I have to shout out so many. I've never seen a game, and I've been playing card games for about 30 years, where investors, collectors, and players are all addicted to the same kinds of things. I've never seen so many people with the kind of capital they have who are used to just opening packs for, that are thousands of dollars, also loving the game.
Yeah.
Like I gotta look at Saint as one of them, who is not a card gamer at heart. He was definitely an investor, but he's now just fallen in love with the game in general. And there's a lot of others who are spending a lot more money than I ever will. And they're just like, this is actually a lot of fun to not just invest in. I've never seen a game like that, and it's really inspiring.
Speaks volumes for sure
Mhm.
on the overall design of the game. It's excellent. It hooks people right away.
Definitely.
Yeah, like the fact that the most exciting armory card to come out of this year has been the cracked freaking bubble.
No, right?
That says something. Like even players who know they will never play this card, like, I want 10 of these, like that, and the investors like, we want all of these. This is so cool, and everyone at each tier of insanity is coming together to just have fun with this. I've never seen a game like it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. And then we move on to Monarch. So this is their sort of self-titled, like, this is the expansion of the game, the last bit of what we were looking for, and that's the Banished Zone. So this is where we brought on talents and the Banished Zone. And so this is my first set that I was really able to get into a lot more Unlimited, because again, I started right around Crucible, and shops around here weren't really doing a whole lot. I really enjoyed it. This is when they also started doing some like local like Road to Nationals and stuff like that was also with this set as well. So how did people experience Monarch?
I need to
Well,
not go first on this one.
Okay, all right.
I guess I can go first then. So during Monarch, I basically played only Limited and a bit of Blitz, and to be honest, I did not enjoy much the Limited format. Felt like Prism was like dominating both sealed and draft, and Chain was like super risky to go in draft. Levia was close to unplayable in Limited, so it was like a really weird format for me. So I did not enjoy too much the Limited, but that's how I got into the game and then like started exploring and built my first deck like almost at the end of Monarch, but I built Dash.
Okay.
For me, when Monarch came out, it honestly made me not want to play the game. Not because of the cards itself, but because of the way my local game stores were treating it.
Oh.
They were treating it like, oh, look, it's another set. We're going to price it at the
Mhm.
Crucible level.
Mm.
And
Yep.
it was impossible to get. So I joined all of the pre-releases in my area, and then I drove 3 hours south to the next city and joined all of theirs. Made a weekend of it. So I got some cards at MSRP of the first edition at least, and then from there I wasn't able to get any first edition until it came down in price, which was months later. But I was able to get unlimited at the regular price. So I started building with that. And like was said before, I found Prism to be very good in limited, and Chain was really risky, and Levia was unplayable. But from the moment I saw Chain's ability, I knew that he was going to be a powerhouse just because of the massive amount of card advantage you would generate off of it. And that's pretty much the case with any hero in Flesh and Blood. The more cards you can play in a turn, the better off you are. So, like, when you don't have to worry about keeping cards for resources, you can just use them for attacking or just play them from Vanish or whatever. It's going to give you a huge advantage either way. And
Definitely.
then, yeah, I wasn't too happy with how the price of Monarch crashed so badly. I do think it's a really great set. I think it's also just as balanced as Welcome to Wraith was as far as the classes are concerned. Kind of, maybe a little bit, like at least some of the equipment has arcane barrier, so you can at least stop the null runes from Chain. But I did find it a little bit more balanced, even though there is a bit of a much higher learning curve. So I still liked it for that.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't train people on Monarch. I just skip that.
Okay.
It's really interesting to hear how like negative people are about Monarch, and yeah, we obviously saw that with the price of the set. But I feel like that was just some teething issues as well. But I feel like, yeah, during that whole time, everyone was so excited and like learning about talents. Everyone was theorizing about basically everything, and it was kind of a wild ride. And I think, yeah, people got a little peeved off at Chain. I personally think Prism is more of an issue, but we'll see how that goes over time. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It was my first proper pre-release, and yeah, everyone was having a good time. So yeah, it was fun.
Monarch was my introduction to the game. I had bought the pre-cons, the Blitz decks. I didn't get to do a lot of the limited, so I can't really speak to that. It sounds like it was pretty unbalanced. But three, I mean, I'm a Levia main, so I play a lot of Levia.
Nice.
And the first deck I built was Chain before C's got booted out of there. And I love Bolton. I absolutely despise Prism. I'm with you, Kurt. I think it is a problem. I don't even know if it's a problem because it's too good. It's just annoying. So, but that being said, I mean, introduction to talents is great for the game. So, if anything, Monarch will be remembered for that. Light and Shadow. I mean, I'm sure we're going to see a lot more Light and Shadow going forward. There's a lot of design space flavorfully and in game to explore there. So should be cool.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
yeah, you want to say something? I don't know if you want to say anything.
Well, there's a lot of avenues to take with this. As somebody who started right as the spike occurred, it was really cool to be a part of that. Now I get to be a part of first edition for the first time, and a lot of people got to be a part of their very first edition with Monarch. That was really exciting, watching all the cards, and it's also the first time that I got to see new cards get spoiled and be like, oh my gosh. So like imagination ran wild. That was really fun to be a part of. Loved that. Loved all of that. Loved the excitement, loved the energy. Hated the pricing, of course, but again, we saw what happened. We were fresh off of let's get 10 years of appreciation in 2 months. I knew people were going to get burned, and that sucked that happened. But we seem to have stabilized from that. Totally agree with Prism. Kind of busted limited. Prism's the only one who doesn't have RNG problems. Levia, you need enough 6 costs. Bolton, you need enough charge. Chain, you need enough blood debt. Prism just swings. Okay. I think that's why Prism just led. From a training perspective, it is very, very difficult. And I can train, and not to say that talents make it too difficult, because I can teach people with Arya and they get it. They pick it up real quick. Something about the complexity with it. And I like as somebody who's played the game before Monarch, because I like that complexity because I can handle it. As somebody who has taught it, can't stand it for that reason. I'm cool with the heroes. I really want to make Levia work. I really do. Or Levia, or however the heck. We don't even know how the heck to pronounce her name, so I don't know how Molly
that
can make
out
her
first, maybe.
Maybe that's why
I go
the set was
Levia like
unbalanced.
Leviathan.
Yeah,
That's
sense.
where I think.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I think that's how it's supposed to be said.
Yeah, James said in an interview, he says Levia, but people can say it however they want.
Yeah.
So,
I think that there's a lot of growth opportunities. I like that Chain, even after the bans, is still a problem, which makes me a little worried. Especially with the talent aspect. I think seeing the talents for the first time also showed us a little bit of LSS's design and QA process, and we saw it again in Tails. And I know we're going to get there when we get to Tails. So I love the talent system. Monarch went a little bit too, they swung the needle a little too far in insanity, in my opinion.
It definitely was a heavy complexity. And again, I think to your point about teaching, like, again, Tails versus Monarch, I mean, not only did you get talents, you got talents that, and again, it's maybe elements are a little bit more understandable, and like the thematically what it did in the cards actually made sense with the name, and so like that alone could help. And it's also, there's no new zones in Tails. Like if you're jumping from Welcome Wraith or Arcane, there's one,
and it's optional if you have New Horizon.
Again, Arsenal's already a zone that existed, whereas like the Banish and the Soul are things like, well, what? And again, thematically, the Soul makes sense. It's going under your hero, sure, but like the Banish zone, well, that was only for like being like having goofy effects on other cards like Remembrance or like being intimidated, things like that. So it was more new than I think the elements were new. But I guess I had maybe it's just location dependent. I had a great limited experience. Like it didn't seem that there was any winner in regards to how the whole meta was going. We had people topping with different heroes in that, and that could just be maybe people were going more like, well, I just really want to play Chain because I like the idea of this guy being shackled to this other reality with this dude who's like sucking his soul out, sort of stuff. So maybe that was really where we were going, in less spikiness and stuff like that. But agreed, the pricing was outstandingly awful. I will shout out my local LGS, Unison Games Cafe. They sold, I think it was $92 a box. So they were fantastic, and they've been staying as close to that. They've been, just adding a little bit on from distributors and making something, but not gouging. And that's, all I could say is that I think that I'm in the area that I am so I can get that deal. But otherwise, absolutely, the prices is awful. And now we can move into Tales of Aria, which again, we seem to have solved the pricing issue. There's enough supply. Maybe that's all it is. Maybe printing costs were a little bit lessened because of, or that doesn't matter for sellers. But I think people realize, oh, cool, all this Monarch First Edition is just sitting around doing nothing. and now I can price a little bit lower, get the volume out, make some more cash, and have maybe more people come to the store. So I think that, again, I'll kick it over to other people first, what they think.
I mean, with Tales of Aria, FOMO from everyone went away.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
that solved it.
Yeah.
When I say everyone, I also include distributors, because you have to look at Monarch, especially first edition, the fact that thousands of boxes have been dumped recently because distributors hoarded first edition, wanting it to spike. Now that that's gone, I think we're in such a better place.
Yeah. Definitely.
Also, I love Tales. I freaking adore Tales. I adore it in all of its forms. Say what you want about Briar, and Unblockable Arcane Damage still struggles in limited.
Yes.
Disruption screws Briar pretty hard, and 2 of the other 3 heroes are Disruption. I love Aria. I love it. I just love it. That's all I got.
It's really awesome limited format. I've been enjoying it. Sealed a bit less, but draft has been amazing. Every time I have a chance to draft, I'm going to draft. It's awesome. And for constructor, Briar is a bit of a problem, but it can be handled, but not by all heroes. That's a big problem that we can have with Briar right now. And for prices, at the beginning, I think was not good, because boxes were $170, $180, and then if you waited for a month, now prices went down to reasonable, $100 per box. But in the beginning, the pre-orders were crazy expensive, probably because of history with other boxes.
Yeah.
I feel like if in Everfest you have a generic defense reaction that shuts down on hit effects, Briar becomes a substantially smaller problem.
Yeah.
It's an easy way to flick off a lot of heroes, though. So that's
Azalea, don't do that.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a powerful piece of equipment you got there, or card you got there.
I mean, Azalea has Rock Slide Trap that does it.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Azalea has it. Great.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Azalea has it. So it's never going to get played.
Tails was one of my. I was really happy when Tails came out. The new heroes, I was really excited about. I was really happy to see that Ranger was going to get some attention, and the new talents also really intrigued me. I actually wasn't. I predicted new talents, but I didn't predict that they would be the way they are. So I was really excited to see how the elements were going to work, and then also, especially from a purchasing standpoint, the local game stores realized they weren't going to be able to price gouge anymore. So I was actually able to get first edition at a reasonable price right off the bat. And I was able to build up a decent collection of first edition to the point that I only needed 1 card by the time Unlimited came out, and that was the FaB, which I still haven't got. But I was able to get everything else that I needed, and from first edition without having to destroy my bank account. And then I also enjoyed playing all of the classes. I don't think any of the classes is overpowered. I think, like Welcome to Wraith, they do have kind of a rock, paper, scissors kind of thing going, where this class will beat that class, but not this class. And we saw that at Nationals here in Canada, because Yuki played the Ice Control Lexi in order to beat the Briar.
Yep. And
she got lucky and was put against a Briar just enough times to squeeze her into the finals, and she did manage to pull it off. The one class that was going to beat her, she didn't have to play against, and he got taken out by another Briar. So that basically pushed her to victory by playing a class to beat the meta. And I do think that even though Briar is still way up there, all you have to do is brew to beat Briar and then hope to do well against the other. And I really enjoy that, because it really shakes up the meta.
That was our first calling in Vegas. All chain all the time. Prism designed to beat chain beats it.
Yep.
Granted, he played 7 chains throughout the day.
Yeah.
But, it worked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was playing chain for our local road to nationals. I got first place somehow. I actually got very, very lucky, because 3 of the games that I played came down to my last turn, where I would either win or die. Oof. And I just happened to have the only card that I could possibly need to win, and I pulled them off. But the second Road to Nationals I went to, I basically lost every game.
Oh no.
Jeez.
And then in Nationals, after the ban, I was like, well, I'm not going to play this anymore. I played Briar in Nationals, and I just did really, really badly. I hadn't gotten any practice on the hero that I was playing. But I had a lot of fun. I went all the way to Toronto to do that.
That's a long way.
Where are you at now?
Alberta.
Yeah.
Okay. Ooh, okay.
So it was a 4-hour flight, I believe.
Oof. Jeez.
Oh.
4
I
hours.
only know my Canadian geography so much because I'm a hockey fan, but I at least know that.
It was like 25% around the world, basically.
Yeah.
Canada's a big country, and I had to go all the way across it.
Oof.
Yeah, I mean, Tails was a roller coaster as well with speculations like, oh, there's going to be 3 elements, and then people figuring out, well, to make limited work, they would have to be able to use multiple. Otherwise, it's just like you just take all of one card.
Right.
But yeah, like some bittersweet with like, oh, is Ranger. Oh, the legendary is unusable with Azalea, basically. Even though it can be used, you shouldn't. Like, yeah, and then not getting a non-elemental weapon for Ranger. Like, I get that go for, oh, not everything is symmetrical, but some things probably should be, like the weapons, like one of each for each class, but Runeblade gets 2 generic ones, because you don't want Chain to miss out. Ranger doesn't get any, because you don't want Azalea to get anything.
No, she can't be good.
Well, maybe it's because they've tested it and then she just is going to be too good. Maybe that's all it is. It's just she's the sleeper that they're just keeping at bay.
I
mean, yeah, like you think that, but then Duskblade is one of the ones that gets through, so
Fair.
it's a bit, yeah. But if you can, I don't know how you've set this up. If you can see my avatar, you know that I like all the Earth stuff. So that was, I love it. Bit sad that it wasn't a new class, just because that would have been a really fun kind of druid thing.
That's what I was rooting for. Yeah.
But maybe one day, some nature Earth wizard or something would be really cool.
Sure.
Cool. For me, I definitely agree with Capolo that the draft experience in Tales of Aria is I imagine we go down the road a few years and we look back on Tales of Aria as like probably one of the best draft formats in the game. I mean, I could play it every day. Like if I had the chance to. The sealed, however, I'm not a huge fan of. You know, Briar is just a little bit too easy to get together in that one. But I do appreciate how Briar's created such a puzzle for the format, the meta to figure out, and you know, and thematically, I think Tales of Aria just it really hit. You know, elements are really cool. It's really opened up. You know, now we can start speculating. Oh, what other elements are they gonna add to the game? You know,
Oh, God.
obviously, yeah. So like, you know, it's like they did lightning, but we didn't get fire or water or anything like that.
Or
So, like,
heart. We might as well summon Captain Planet at this
yeah,
point.
might as well. I mean, he could be the hero. He like
He's the
be able to
Fabled.
play all of them. He's like the Shiana of talents.
Oh
but
my god, that'd be amazing.
yeah, it'd be a lot of fun. But you know, it's I think it's such a success, and I think it is a turning point for the game. You know, it really came at a great time, and yeah, the pricing, you know, evened out, the FOMO evened out, like you all said. And, yeah, I think we'll all look back on Tales of Aria pretty fondly.
Yeah.
Going forward.
I think the other thing, and this is going to segue nicely into Everfest, I'm queuing you up here, is the set just looked fun.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we didn't get that with Monarch. Monarch was light versus dark, and there's bloody and creepy and weird, and oh my god, what in the world's going on? And Everfest, just every card was just a party.
Even the box.
Even the box,
Everyone
yeah.
loves the box art.
God, I remember seeing that in the ICV2 of here's what the packs look like. I'm
Yep.
like, I want 20 of those, and I don't even open them.
Mm-hmm.
I opened them, but I'm bad at keeping those.
Yeah, so might as well. My final thing to say about Monarch, or sorry, about Tales, and to echo what has been said, I think the reason why. So Tom was just saying the meta sort of like is a puzzle. I think the puzzle won't get solved. because of the timing of how events sort of got canceled and then things were shut down, like I think there's still a lot of work to be done to sort of tool it out and then have it get to like a stable equilibrium. But with only like 2 more national events that are pushed, and again, looking around where I'm living, I don't know if you can have an event even in January or February. So like, who knows if those will actually happen? And I don't want to like be a downer, but like, I don't think there'll just be enough time to really solve the meta. So we'll look back finally, sure, but I don't know if we'll ever really know what could have been for the set. But definitely to segue into Everfest. So we did recently get some art for the Crucible, or sorry, the Armory kits, and boy, did we see some fun things. So we have a new hero already. We have Valda Bright Axe. So she's a 21 health. 4 intellect guardian. So whenever an opponent draws a card during an action phase, create a seismic surge token for each card drawn this way. At the start of your turn, if you control 3 or more seismic surge tokens, cards you own with Crush gain dominate this turn. So a sort of like built into a Briar in that regard. But so yeah, what do you guys think about Valda?
I think she's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's
Okay.
really awesome.
Super cool.
So
I'm so excited that Valda somehow overtook like ringleader Bravo on the poster in the playmat. Like nobody even has mentioned that's just big extra hairy ringleader Bravo. They just skipped that.
We'll get there. Don't worry.
The community will get there. Valda's badass, and I'm excited.
She is, yeah, and I think that I think it'll be kind of fun. Although, what about you? What about the idea that you're just going to get hosed in some matchups? Because some people don't draw cards. Some, like Bravo, might draw an extra card once in a while. Like you have the Helm and you have like Showtime and like cool, and maybe you can do some things with Embolden. But like you don't draw a lot of cards. Like there are some heroes just don't do that. Dash doesn't draw cards. Like,
doesn't it just open up the door to either giving your opponent an opportunity to draw cards or other cards that let you make more seismic surges?
Or you
like
can force them to draw cards. That's the other thing that we can do. But ultimately, it's a little bit hit or miss. And maybe we're that extra 1 health that I wonder how much testing went into that 1 health. But
I think that's why she does have the 21 health, and it is a little sad that she doesn't get access to Awakening, right? Because she's just a normal Guardian.
Yep.
So I think Tectonic Plating's like the only way she can get Seismics. But yeah, that's probably why she's a young hero as well, just because she's not like there yet.
Yeah.
But maybe eventually they'll make an adult version.
I do.
I mean,
it makes
draw and discard's a thing.
Yeah. It makes me wonder if we'll see some on-hit effects for Guardian that instead of like crushing, we actually see create seismic surge tokens, or a crush effect that creates seismic surge tokens. So there's a way to snowball into something like this so that you can create your own seismic surge tokens via on-hit effects or a crush effect or something like that. So I could definitely see there being Guardian cards that support her directly that, again, you could play seismic, you could play Tectonic Play and get a seismic surge token from that, and then you only have to get like 2 more to really trigger that. So that's definitely got some ways to do it. The other one is Life of the Party, which I will read shortly. So there's 3. It's the 3 strips of colors. We have attack for 4, 3, 2 for the 3 colors. It costs 2. It's a generic attack, action, defense for 2. You may discard or destroy a card you control named Crazy Brew rather than play Life of the Party's resource cost. If you do, choose all modes. Otherwise, select or choose one at random. So very Crazy Brew-esque, and the art is totally on par with it's just like bottle smashing, people swinging mugs, jumping around anywhere. This is Everfest. This is the party that just rages all the time in Aria. So the 3 modes are Life of the Party gains when this hits, gain 2 life. It could gain +2 damage, and then it gains go again. Those are the 3 modes that you can randomly choose or have all 3 of. So I love it. I think that's awesome. I think that this is exactly what I envisioned when I was thinking about what Everfest would be, and I think this is not a joke set at all, but I think it's just really thematically ingrained in Everfest and Aria that I'm really glad they did this. We were talking about Monarch being like this bloody war like thing, and then Aria was just this beautiful elemental thing, and like I really do like how they go full into these sort of themes that they have. What do you guys think of the card?
I love it. Again, it's just fun.
Mhm.
And I hope we see more of this from LSS, where they are clearly just having fun with their rules. Because that's all this is. This is going to spawn some of the most fun meme decks imaginable of how many crazy brews and all the life of the parties. And then
Looks like
you
a
can
motion too.
Yep.
pummel this thing.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yes, you
That's
can.
insane. I'm so excited to meme deck the daylights out of this. And I don't care how much I lose. If I pull off Insanity once, I'm gonna have the time of my life. I want more of this. I want more of these cards.
Yeah, this card is really fun, but I feel like it's not gonna be for like the competitive side. But I feel like LSS needs to focus a bit more on the casual gaming side, because I feel like at least in my area, everybody's like super competitive. Not many people play for fun, and this would help like play some fun blitz decks.
Mhm.
And I'm really a fan of this card. For sure,
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to play it as much as I can.
Yeah, I used to put Crazy Brew in pretty much every deck I built because, and people would laugh and I would have a great time with it. So I totally see that, and it was terrible. It was awful. It was the worst, but did it anyway.
Yeah, I don't think definitely, like everybody said, it'll definitely be a meme deck card. You'll never see it in competitive play because it has too many restrictions and requirements to make it useful.
Mhm.
But I do definitely like it. I'll also just mention like the art. You'll notice they're all wearing some variant of the spring tunic. All the women on the card.
Mhm.
And also on the Valda card, if you look in the background of the bartender, that is the bartender on that other card.
Stonewall
Stonewall
Confidence.
Confidence. Yep.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's the one. Stonewall Confidence.
Actually, I believe that is the same scene that you're seeing
Yeah,
as
I
it
think so.
Runaways. I believe, right? The boots that you
Mhm.
see that guy passed out. You see the bartender. Like that kind of stuff. I love when they connect things like that. So that's great.
Whatever that tavern is needs to be the landmark.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what you would do with it, but it needs to be. And I also hope they bring in not just one fabled landmark.
Like go to the tavern, you get -1 intellect. And
Yeah. Yeah. Plus
Right?
plus one.
Minus one
Yeah.
intellect, plus 2 strength.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's great.
Oh, man.
I'm
Yeah,
also
it's such
excited to
a
see the
fun-
foiling of this. How much detailing is there on Life of the Party? What could they if they do the same mechanics they did with Tales of Aria, which was nuts in its foiling? God, I can't wait to see this card in foil.
so fun. Like it's just that's just it. And yeah, Crazy Brew, Coax a Commotion, Life of the Party. I'm thinking like a lightning deck to give Crazy Brew go again to make it not so bad. Oh, so good.
Well, I mean that's actually I'll let Tommy go first before I jump.
Oh
into
well, I mean it's cool. I don't know how competitive it will be, but I mean,
Yeah.
I hope Everfest brings some like support for, and this seems to be like a good ultimate pit fight card. You know, I don't know how many people are playing it, but you know, I got to play it the other day, and it's a lot of fun, and it could be really important for the health of the game. Also, I want to something to say about Valda is LSS saying, by the way, we don't love Runeblade that much. We're gonna do this.
We're not only gonna print Rune Blades, we promise.
Yeah. We're gonna print some hate for Runeblade, but you know, it is a. I mean, Valda's pretty awesome. I'm excited to see people play with her. But Life of the Party. I mean, you know, hey, it's a really cool mechanic. You know, I hope we see some other stuff with the other potions, maybe, and that'd be cool.
Yeah, so that's sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say to add on to it, since I know it's part of LSS's marketing strategy, how cool is it we have another badass woman
Oh yeah.
Oh,
the heroes as well? They've
Oh, yeah.
rocked that
Yeah.
very, very well.
To sort of lead in from that, so potions. So we did see the December, like the poster for the armories was like the one we got the crack baubles from. Was that dude who's definitely merchanty? What you got? You got something, Capello? Oh, right in the background. Yeah, that's him. That's that big dude who, again, he doesn't look like a bard. He looks like a merchant. But imagine if a merchant was able to have something on him that would allow potions to get go again or augment those. So, like, that's where you start seeing where, like, Crazy Brew, Life the Party, these things might actually all come together. You know, these off-the-path cards might work an off-the-path hero. Someone that doesn't have, you know, cards to their name, to their hero, but can use all these goofy things to, like, again, whether that's like just play a fun, casual, goofy game like a total meme deck that you enjoy playing, or if it can be like this really weird wild card that like can attack the meta in a way that no one's expecting because it's terrible, and then actually have some sort of fun benefit to it. But
We know you want that in the form of a brewmaster.
I do, absolutely. That's
Don't say you want a merchant.
Well, no, I don't want a merchant, but he doesn't look enough like an alchemist or a brewer to make me feel like that. So that's where I'm hoping these life at the party things like that, those are gonna point us towards that. But we'll sort of see. But moving into the other thing again, as Joey had said before, we have Bravo, back again for the first time, whatever. Big chest showing, like these gaudy shoulder pads.
Wait,
but
that's
again,
some World of Warcraft shoulder pads right there.
Yeah. Well, actually, we saw a similar size with Oldhim, so it's not super crazy. But yeah, he's like, and again, this makes sense because that's what his hero story was. He was this showman. He was this strongman. He would smash the hammer down and blow the thing up. And so again, he is the life of the carnival. And so we see this playmat. So likely, if we're following suit on the sort of what we saw in the previous playmats, this is a card. I was thinking it could be an actual different hero, where you would actually get a different version of Bravo, which I hope they do in the future to make things sort of work in time. I don't think we're there yet, so I'm thinking this is just a card. What do we think about that?
Elemento Bravo?
I don't know if I would...
It wouldn't be elemental. He can't be elemental, but...
But so, like, we think it's a card, I assume. So what do you think? You think this is going to be in line? Do you think, I guess, Everfest as a set is going to be off-the-wall stuff, like we see with Life of the Party? Do we think it's going to be like this?
Not everything. I feel like some of the cards will be just to support like the casual gameplay, but you need to like put in some cards for like the competitive gameplay. So I feel like not of them will be like fun. Some of them will just be competitive cards. And as far as the Bravo card, I assume it's going to be like a new specialization for Bravo.
Yep.
Like every hero gets a new specialization. That's my random guess.
Okay.
I'm going to theory something. Because in our group, we have a really good theory of what the carnival slot is.
Okay.
It's a really interesting one, which is potential alt arts of reprints. So, if I were to play that game, if I were to play into that theory, I would put this in the carnival slot of a reprint of an alt art reprint of Adult Bravo.
But that changes his name because this is Bravo Star of the Show. Isn't he Showstopper or not? What's his actual title?
He's Bravo Showstopper.
Yeah.
But I mean, still Bravo Showstopper. He has the same effect, but alt art reprint.
Yeah, it could just be like a second name, like they've done with some of the Magic cards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know.
Some extension. Or chances are it's just going to be legendary for legendary specialization Bravo shoulder pads.
Yep.
I think it'd be a cool card. It's kind of interesting. Maybe because this... no, I just like debunked my own little theory in my head. I don't know if we'll see like all the heroes, because if they're doing like a playmat, that would be like a year of playmats and armory kits, and we wouldn't see anything else. So it's kind of interesting to think about. But I hope an Azalea one comes, because that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Great.
Otherwise, yeah, I don't know if it could be a different Bravo. Like, yeah, it's probably too soon for that. Though they would have to start eventually.
Yeah.
I'm going to plant my flag and say it is a different Bravo. This is going to be our first new hero. That's why they're putting it on the mat. You know, this is the first time they're going to do an alternate version of a hero. And I'm totally willing to be wrong. But I think that would be cool. It would be a good way to feature the theme of the set, I think.
No, I do agree, because the name setup, so Bravo, that's how all of the adult heroes are. So it does really smack into this is definitely an adult hero. Like it very well could be that. And that was my original thought. And I thought, all right, well, no, they've been doing playmats of cards, but I don't know. It'd be exciting.
I'm looking up something.
Okay.
Trying to find the old posters for Arcane and Welcome to Wraith. The Armory Kit posters specifically. There's something I'm noticing is on the bottom of Everfest, the Armory event poster, it says designed for booster draft, which is something they did in Monarch and something they did in Tales of Aria. Crucible of Wars posters say designed for 52 card blitz.
So it's
draft. Interesting. I don't know if that's just laziness or an oversight.
Yeah. I think it's an oversight where they just copy paste from the old posters and didn't realize.
Yeah, because the number of cards, you can't really, like, there's just not enough cards. Because, like, especially when most cards are playable or not at all playable because you're in the wrong class. Like, I don't know if you could do that in a supplemental set that's supposed to support every hero in the game. So I think that's got to be an oversight.
It has. It just was like,
Yeah. All right. Well, that's Everfest. So looking more forward into the future, we're going to hit on the mystery Q2 product. So on the website, you do see that there is the Q2 actual set, so full draftable, fun, exciting set that we have no idea what it is yet. But we also have a Q2 mystery thing. What are people thinking about what this is? What are some ideas?
PvE.
So that's where I am right now. Yeah, I'm totally thinking that makes sense. And maybe we'll see a story come about that in Everfest to explain that. Or it'll be tied to the other Q2 set. Who knows?
I also totally mean now what you say by Bravo Star of the Show. I didn't realize on the article it says that's the name of the playmat, Bravo Star of the Show.
Yeah.
My fault.
Yeah, so that's okay.
Yeah,
I would love
the
PV.
I think it's gonna be ultimate pit fight support set. Maybe like something similar to the Commander decks in Magic, like some like specific hero with like some cards already, like some new cards that are unavailable in those sets.
You think of like pre-con pit fight?
Yeah.
Ooh,
Pretty
I could
sweet.
dig that.
that would be spicy.
I think people
Yeah,
would
because
love
that's
that.
a big market that they've not really tapped into. Like the most pit fight card would be Coax a Commotion right now,
Yep.
and that's it's a lot of fun. People like that card, and people are itching for like more player gameplay, and yeah, if they can give us more fun cards like that and even precons for that, that would be, well, people would be all over that.
I love that idea.
There's your casual side that we were saying that we wanted to have.
Yeah.
That's definitely going to support that. Yeah.
A great opportunity for LGSs to have learn to play events too.
Mhm.
You know, with pre-cons and stuff like that, and they're like, hey, listen, this is a multiplayer format. You guys play Commander, etc. Come
Mhm.
on over and try this out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it'd be easy to have like two people who are friends who are both new to the game join the same game and be part of it. Because right now it's like if two people are friends and they want to learn to play, they like take it in turns or something like that. But people want to shuffle up and play.
Yeah. No, definitely.
I don't think it's going to be an ultimate pit fight thing, mainly because they don't really push the format at all. It's not even considered an official format as far as rules go. I think it's just going to be a supplementary reprint set because they kind of quickly put the last three sets, Crucible, Welcome to Wraith, and Arcane Rising, out of print, like in quick succession, and then announced this new mystery set. So they don't want to prevent new players from getting those old cards, so they'll probably reprint a bunch of them, especially cards like the Null Rune equipment. So that's
here's a question for you, Tyler. If they do that, would you do it in packs or would you do it in the form of like dual decks?
You mean the
Not Sequel, I hope not Sequel Air. But like how Magic used to have like Planeswalker versus Planeswalker, and Final Fantasy has Shinra versus Avalanche and stuff like that. Would you do Bravo versus Katsu, and that's a good way to reprint cards? Or would you just try to do boosters?
they probably just do boosters because it still allows it to be draftable. And like imagine a set with Welcome to Wraith and Arcane Rising and Crucible all kind of mixed in together, where it's mostly just the harder to find cards from the older sets, like your Command and Conquerors, Lightning Strikes, Sink Below, stuff like that. The key cards that are still used a lot, and then throwing out all the stuff that doesn't get play, and just making it so that those old cards that are really expensive right now, especially Command and Conquer and Lightning Strike, become accessible to new players.
Mm-hmm. That's
and
fair.
Old equipment as well.
It's a good point.
I think it'd be a good opportunity to give Command and Conquer some good art. No offense to the artist, I think it looks not great on a card and doesn't really fit in with the game. But I can't see them really doing a card like that in a deck. because it just seems like a lot. Like there are so many good cards that they need to reprint. Like, oh, I'll buy this $20 deck and it's got a $100 card in it or something like that. And how many of those cards? Yeah, it's just like maybe they would do it in some sort of prize pack, something like that. Who knows?
Maybe it kind of depends on how they want to grow the game, because you've seen this. The old Star Wars CCG did Reflections. Yu-Gi-Oh did it, where they took $100, $200 cards and reprinted them. It might be too soon to look at a reprint set because
Yeah.
just went out of print. You might as well just keep them in print if you're going to do that. But
Unless Everfest is the reprint set, which
could be, and that could just be what they use the supplementals for, as an opportunity to reprint the popular ones that they feel are staples, and not give us Raging Onslaught anymore, and just skip that one and move on.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the set's like anyway, if there is like how much of it is reprint, because we know that Skullcap, unless that's some trickery just to throw everyone off, they're not actually reprinting it.
That'd be rude.
Then yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it goes.
Tommy,
I'm always
thoughts?
after new cards.
Yeah,
for sure.
Any last thoughts from Tommy, or is he good?
I mean, it's tough to say. I think it could be any of those things we talked about. I do the point about everything going out of print so quickly is something to think about. I mean, I don't know if that set will be the reprint set or if they'll just commit to just throwing in some reprints here and there in the next year or so. So
yeah, which they definitely can do that. I don't think that's too hard to do.
We already know about Arcanite Skullcap, right, for EVR. So we'll see what else they have up their sleeves.
Yeah, I think it'll be hard to make this something that is a booster set of any kind. Just because, how do you sell another booster set? Like when the game's slow.
Ask Wizards.
This is the thing. It's like you can go do that, and you can be this company that just pushes product out all the time. But like from the cadence of what they're going at, and like again, it sounds like the printer time that they're getting. Like I'm not thinking this is actually going to be another booster set. I think it's going to be something. And again, everyone has sort of said thoughts about what I'm going to think it's going to be. But to go into it from there, I don't think it's going to be something that's in booster packs. I think it's some other thing. Whether that's like, again, it probably aren't going to be precons, because I think the precons are going to be like with the actual Q2 set. But I have no idea.
I hope it's V2 of the lore book or V1 of the lore book.
I would love that.
I would love a lore book.
Me too. I'm definitely into that. I just don't think that's something that's going to sit on the website as its own thing. That's my only. I'm not sure if they're going to do that, but hey, what do I know?
We've been fooled by pretty much every single set they've.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, no one saw the other Runeblade coming, but
nobody saw the library coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as they keep up with the new sustainable packaging they're going for, which is awesome.
What a win!
Yeah, I'm happy with it.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, and the last thing that I have, like, that I wanted to hit on is, where do we go from here? So not worrying about like printing more rune blades or anything like that, but like where are we physically going? Where are we going? What do people want to see? Places they want to see, that kind of thing. What is, if you had to say the Q2 set is going to place X, what is it?
Oh, I want Metrics. I want to go to Metrics.
Okay.
Give me Metrics and Mysteria. That gives me Mechanologist. That gives you Ninja. That rounds out the rest of what we've already seen.
Okay. Andrea, you have a place you want to go?
I mean, metrics for Dash. But I really don't know, and I'm not too.
I went Metrics for Data Doll, because I'm terrible. I play Azalea. My bar is low.
I'm not too familiar with like all the places and the lore. I'm in for like mainly the gameplay.
Sure.
I'm looking for. I want to see new formats, especially for multiplayer. Not necessarily PvE, but I'd like to see a multiplayer format that actually works. Like, I've played UPF and it's fun, but UPF tends to be like whoever gets hit first gets targeted and taken down first kind of thing.
Mhm.
But I definitely would like to see a new multiplayer format. I'm also looking forward to Comprehensive Rules 2.0, which will be coming out in a couple months.
Yep.
I've actually read it, and I can't talk about it, but
Yeah, I mean, if they're going for like the crazy extremes, like we went from Monarch with the doom and gloom to Tails, and it's all bright and elemental. Maybe we'll go back to the pits and have something dark and gloomy again.
Volcore, maybe.
Yeah, I think those are my two best guesses, and maybe we'd get some more Ranger, like double Ranger in a row, like we had Roomblade. Just spoil me. But yeah, I really like the dark aspects, but like I just like the game, so I'll take
Sure.
anything.
Yeah, fair.
I'd like to go to the Savage Lands, even though I guess technically we visit that in Welcome to Wraith, but
Sort of.
any more brute stuff, I'm on board. So let's go.
Well, I
With
think
that-
I think we've seen with the talents we can get any hero or any type of hero anywhere because of the talents. Like we
True.
saw like
Right.
the demonastery or demonastery with brute and stuff like that. So yeah, no, that's a
True.
fair point though. Yeah, the only thing I got to work on is that Seek Horizon card that has the text talking essentially this ninja sitting in Mysteria saying they heard echoes of the war or whatever. So like if they're planting any seeds, we might be going to Mysteria, but I have no idea.
mean- Yeah.
Go ahead.
If you're going Echoes of the War, you got Mysteria and Volcor, because Volcor
Yep.
is that's your war torn area, by the way, from a quick lore perspective. That's like where
Yeah.
Kasai is at. If Command and Conquer comes from any place, it's
Oh, yeah.
probably Volcor.
Oh yeah, the armor on that dude and all the definitely shouts for Volcor. Yeah, I think that would be kind of fun too because then we could again we are probably gonna get a wizard at some point. Like it's gonna happen, right?
Mhm.
And so like that'll be the place to do it, like a fire wizard or something like that. That makes a lot of sense. But
And then
Yeah.
after the Dark War, Everfest 2, the supplemental set.
yeah, the end of the world party sort of thing. Yeah,
yeah.
They just throw Everfest between everything. Just
Right.
it's still
make it all
going.
cheery.
Still
It
going
makes
in
sense
Aria.
thematically, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
they
It's
never
like the Dark
stop.
Moon Fair from Warcraft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Illidan has come and destroy everything. But first, the Dark Moon Fair. Like, okay.
Cool. Well, that's all I had. Any last thoughts? I'll kick it to everyone to sort of like any last words for this year in FaB or anything like that people want to say.
I'll do a quick retro and looking forward. I got into Flesh and Blood this year. And this has been one of the most fulfilling experiences in 30 years of playing a card game because of community and what I've gotten to try. I've never done content creation before. So thank all of you, everybody here, everybody who's been watching, for really being epic. Looking into 2022, LSS, please learn from Everfest and Tails and the Cracked Baubles and have some fun with your game.
Yeah.
That's my message to you.
Cool.
You have proven we will eat that up when you have some fun. You've got goals you've got to hit, which is you need to execute on the $1 million prize pool thing, but now have some fun. We will join you. That's all I have.
Cool. Andrea?
Not much from me. Just I enjoy this game as most of us got into the game like this year, and was like a really awesome ride. I had a lot of fun. I really like the gameplay. How everything is a game. The company's been awesome. So nothing special, but happy 2022.
Yeah, cool. Tyler?
just for all the new players getting into it, don't look at the cost of equipment and be intimidated out of playing. That is a very small part of the game, and honestly, you don't even need it. You go play against a wizard and you put all your equipment away and put the null rune out. Those are common, so it's not a big deal to not focus on the equipment and to just focus on your deck. You can build a top tier deck for $60.
And there's essentially a common rarity equipment for every legendary or majestic piece of equipment. There's always something that's going to do the same thing in your class, so it's not like it's hard to fill that space with something that's very cheap.
Yeah. Don't have Tunic? Put in Deep Blue. You're better.
Deep Blue is awesome.
Deep Blue or Hardened Cross Trap. I mean, that's two
Yeah.
resources. So Kurt.
Yeah, so I also got into content creation with the game. It was so much fun. I just passed like a year since I first uploaded, so it's kind of crazy to look back. Like LSS has just been amazing, and you can see everything they're trying to do, like reaching out to creators who would be considered like minuscule in other games who would just not even be thought of. And like, I don't know, I got preview cards for the last 2 sets, and I had like 200 subscribers when they reached out to me for Monarch. So it's kind of insane. So it's, yeah, just if you get into content, just do it. We'll all hang out and chat.
Heck
Yeah.
yeah.
I think 2021 was a pivotal year for Flesh and Blood, and I think they really hit a home run. And now looking at 2022 and everything that's planned, it seems like it's going to be uh, a year of for Flesh and Blood that we're all going to remember. I mean, they can only screw it up, right? They got all the momentum, and yeah, the community's great. I love being a part of it. It's all been great, and I hope to continue to be a part of it. And hopefully everybody just has fun, right? It's a game, right? We're having fun, and LSS I think knows that. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I hope that they can keep the community sort of building that they've been doing, at the high that they're working at, bringing new people on, whether it be creators or just players. And again, making a fun game that's fun to play, fun to collect, whatever you're into, fun to like learn about the rules, the lore, whatever. And then just keep doing what they're doing, stay their values, because ultimately, like we see other TCGs these days that are just like milking, and that's hopefully not where we're going to go with this. So I think, that's going to wrap it up. It's been a long one, so I hope people are still here. I will give a lap to let everyone plug anything that they didn't in the beginning. Obviously, all the links are going to be down in the description below, but if there's like anything you want to shout out for the last bit of the video, I don't think anyone's going to watch now, but who knows? Throw it out there, and then it'll also be in the links below.
Oh, of course, join me over in Decks and Drafts. Grab a beer, let's chat. And if you guys are working on building your local communities, please reach out. I've got kits, so if you can throw the link to the kit, that'd be awesome.
I'll make sure I have the correct one. I'll probably ping you for that.
Sure.
For me, Twitter and YouTube at Kapolo, Kappolo, and that's it. Thanks
Cool.
for having me.
Fair enough.
MetaGod Gaming on YouTube for all your rules inquiries, especially mechanics and stuff.
Very good.
Raven, like everywhere, just reach out if you want to get into making content, and I'll try and help you get into it. And yeah, we'll all enjoy the game together.
Cool.
Podcast is Fresh and Buds on Spotify, and Apple Podcast, and Google Podcast, and I think I throw the stuff up on YouTube as well, and then on Twitter I'm just Fresh Buds Pod.
Very cool. All right. Well, thank you all for joining me for this. I'm sorry that it went as long as it did, but I think we had a good talk, and I'm hoping to do some sort of like talk like this thing on some regular basis. So hopefully I'll be able to have you guys on for that soon. And otherwise, yeah, cheers. I'm totally dry, but if anyone's got their last bit,
Yeah,
cheers.
I ran out half hour ago.
Yeah, I know.
Enjoy editing
done.
if you're editing this.
Oh, this is not edited. This is going to be, I'll throw a few animations up when we talk about cards or whatever, and that is it. This is for fun. This is raw, uncut, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Cheers.
See ya.